Okay, welcome to a new episode of SAKtown Talk here on 91.7 KIBH FM Seward and on our YouTube channel at SAKtown. I'm your host, Sean Ulman. I'm very happy to be joined by Kendra Warlow via Zoom today. And Kendra will be here in Seward very soon for a big upcoming event. We're going to talk about the Seward is celebrating Seward's World War II history and Fort McGilvray's legacy. And we got some big events going on next Saturday, September 13th. Kendra,
Yeah.
thanks for joining us. And what can you tell us about these events?
Yeah, Sean, thank you so much for having me on. So, these events are a big celebration of not only Seward's role in World War II, but the greater Seward Fixed Harbor Defense System and the men of the 250th and 267th Coast Artillery Battalions who built and manned not only Fort McGilvray, but Fort Bulkeley and all the base end stations and searchlight stations that span across Resurrection Bay. This got started because I am a volunteer with Alaska State Parks, and I answered their volunteer ad that said, "Do you like World War II history? Do you like being on the water? Come to Alaska and help us out." And I don't think they knew what they were getting into when I got up here. I certainly didn't until the research project started all coming together. And what I found was an extraordinarily rich history of World War II in Seward that had kind of been scattered in a bunch of different places, from University of Alaska to our own Seward Museum and Library Archives and state parks and a number of places in between. And so I kind of spent the summer collecting all of those resources and putting them into an interactive GIS map that we'll release on the 13th, or at least I'll be able to showcase and talk about, so that the history is accessible for everybody, every visitor who comes to Seward, or anybody that has an interest in Canes Head State Recreation Area. What came from all of that excitement and passion as this project grew was a wonderful partnership with SCLA, Friends of the Seward Library, Resurrection Bay Historical Society, and our library and museum to pull together our September 13th World War II celebration day. So at the museum from 2 to 5 p.m., we are inviting everybody in the community to come down to the museum, get dressed up 1940s, bring a vintage finger food if you want to. So no green Jello, those of you who know what that is. Not really a finger food. And come down and listen to former Alaska State Park Superintendent Jack Sinclair talk about refinding Fort McGilvray and the development of Canes Head State Recreation Area, followed by me. I'll be giving kind of my seminal talk on all the work that I did this summer and the history of the guys of the 267th and what life was like out at Fort McGilvray for the years that they were out there. And then we want community sharing time. So if you have photos of loved ones that served during World War II or an artifact, no ordnance, please keep your hand grenades and bombs to yourself. We don't want to see them. No, thank you. Please bring in those photos and those fun artifacts, and then we'll have time for you to step up and share a little bit about your loved one. But the
Cool.
night doesn't end there,
No,
Sean.
no, yeah.
We got super lucky, and SCLA and the Flamingo have partnered together to throw us a 1940s supper club dinner that's going to support our newly made Friends of Canes Head State Recreation Area group. That dinner will be from their regular opening time all the way through food service. There will be two choices for a 3-course dinner that's actually based off the menus of the guys of the 250th and 267th during their anniversary celebration dinners in
That's
1940
cool.
and 43. It's pretty exciting, actually.
Yeah.
It's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
There will be old radio broadcasts going on that night. We will be showing the 1941 silent film that the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers did on the building of Fort McGilvray, kind of on loop through dinner. And then, regular good big band music. So if you dress up 1940s, don't waste that outfit. Go make your reservations at Flamingo, and we'll keep the party going there.
Awesome. So, I mean, your passion on World War II, unquestioned. I think that was proven off the top right there, the first seconds. Amazing. This sounds like a really fun event. So secret silent film I saw in the flyer, and that's going to kick off the 2 p.m. That starts at 2 p.m. for the festivities. I want to say, looking at the flyer,
Yeah.
why secret? You know, or
Yeah, absolutely. So the work that was happening out in Resurrection Bay for our Seward Fixed Harbor Defense System was classified as secret. So all of the footage that was produced during that time from the motion pictures section of the Army Corps of Engineers was all labeled secret. And it's really fun. When I got this video from the Alaska State Library, it pops up on the screen and says, "This film is secret. This film is secret." And
cool.
it just kind of makes you feel really special to know that there actually aren't that many people that have seen this. And so to show up and be able to watch it, you're going to be part of a very small group of people.
Yeah, until Saturday. Wow. And I
Yeah.
really like that aspect. I didn't see that in the flyer about, I'm sure it's there, but locals bringing in their artifacts, their photographs. I mean, that could be a real big opportunity here in Seward to share. And, you know, you guys and this new group that's being formed, which is fantastic, could really add to their, you know, collection of stories and information and artifacts. Really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Seward community is so incredibly special, and Seward supports Seward, which is something that I love. And we really wanted to get the community involved, which is why we kind of waited for September to throw this so that hopefully everybody's back at home, school's started, and we can really get everybody in the community out there to learn some stuff that maybe they didn't know about.
Yeah, good timing, I think. And certainly with the Supper Club edition, the Flamingo Lounge is perfect as far as, you know, decor and ambiance and Seward history. I mean, what a perfect pairing. I did see turkey leg on there as well as the other entree. Help me out.
That's the primary.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. So these were foods that the corpse could have. You mentioned there, like on their menu or
Yeah, their
back in the day.
anniversary menu
Oh,
was
okay.
like tom turkey, fruit cup,
Cool.
what else?
Jello. Oh.
Everything, yeah, Jello, and then it was awesome. At the very end, dessert was either Coca-Cola and cigarettes or coffee and a cigar.
Yeah, I saw that on there. And you know, that's you know, with the flamingo thorns, you know, there's history there with cigarettes, so that's pretty cool too. Nice touches. Really well thought out event and just really cool opportunity. So help us out a little bit with the 40s attire because
Yeah.
today I tried today, you know, I just real quick, you know, I'm wearing a wool vest and yeah, I mean the shirt the button top does not top buttoned is not something I do. Is that 40s or can I undo this because it's a little
Is it? It's getting it's a little like a little tight. It's a little tight.
No, but
Yeah.
seriously though,
So
like, what are some examples of 40s attire? I know some people will be like, Sean, why are you asking that? I have son tons of stuff, but people like me are like, this is the best
no,
I could
that's
do. How'd I do? You know?
any suits that kind of have that like wedge shape to them. For anybody who likes wearing suits, you're gonna have like big shoulders and really defined lines, high-waisted wool, definitely a plus, or you can absolutely go with the sweater vest that you have on. I think that's fantastic. For folks who would like to wear a dress, you're going to find dresses with shoulder pads that are just a little bit more snug around the waist and go below the knee, like mid chin esque, and then get crazy with those hairstyles. Have fun
Nice.
with them. Victory
Nice.
rolls are not as hard as you think that they are to do, and just give it a shot. Throw on some red lipstick, find a bow tie or a nice tie to go with your outfit, and whatever you show up, if you spent the time dressing up, I'm gonna be stoked to see it. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that
I'll,
goes a long way for sure. And, you know, the more that do, here we suddenly have a scene, you know, and you can go back in time, which you're going to anyways. But if you're in the attire and even the event could start for you prior to getting there when you start doing this dress up and having fun, little Halloween aspect with, you know, classy. Thanks for those tips. Those are great. Obviously, you know, I knew that was a good question for you. So cool. So cool. Thank you. That is, let's see. I mean, you covered that really fast, really well. Kendra, go ahead.
before I forget,
Yeah.
we actually, there's an incredible slide with three guys of the 250th Coast Artillery Battalion posing together in front of their barracks. They're wearing this amazing white crew neck sweatshirt that says ADC, US Army, and then the original seal for the Alaska Defense Command. It actually wasn't the polar bear, it was a seal
Oh,
with
cool.
with mountains behind it or a starburst. And on that sweatshirt, they have the seal, the OG seal, and it says Kodiak, Alaska. The boys of the 250th also served on Kodiak. And we took that sweatshirt, and with an incredible donor, we reworked those sweatshirts, and we will have a limited supply of reproduction ADC Seward, Alaska at the bottom instead of Kodiak of these sweatshirts. So you can actually match the guys with the 250th and 267th that had these awesome Alaska Defense Command sweatshirts. And then
Wow.
that will go to support our new friends group.
Those are going to go fast.
Yeah, they're pretty rad. They're awesome.
That's gotta be one per person, because we can't, some collector could just.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do that. It's going to be one per person. And then instead of they had some kind of nondescript mountains behind the seal, I actually worked my butt off to get our mountains. So it's actually Eva, Alice, and Mary behind the seal.
I mean,
So,
the touches with this, I could see the hard work and the just thought work that went into it. It's really cool. Nice work. That's really neat.
thank you.
Another piece I noted was the release of the South Beach sourdough newsletters.
Yes. Oh man. So SCLA has this incredible archival collection of historical documents from World War II. And I went into our archives at the museum looking at the Daily Polaris, which was the daily newsletter from Fort Raymond and the town of Seward during that time. And I'm looking for anything on the 267th, and I'm going, I'm not seeing anything. That's fine. I put it back in the box, and I notice a stack of pages underneath the Daily Polaris that was vertical, and this other stack was horizontal. And I pull them out, and no kidding, it says South Beach Sourdough 250th newsletter. We have a year of weekly publications from the boys that were stationed out on South Beach, just about their life. And because everything was classified as secret, these were not allowed to leave the beach. They did 4 censored issues a year that they could mail home. But other than that, this is written by those guys for those guys, and it's hilarious.
Wow.
They are ribbing each other. My husband is in the Army, so I feel fine saying this, but Army boys never change. So it's pretty evident. They're using, nicknames, telling funny stories, and then they get serious. And they talk about just life stuff and who passed away and who got married and whose parents are sick, and then all the way to sports. Boxing was huge back then. There were tons and tons of boxing matches. And then they had the South Beach Sourdough Spitfires, or South Beach Spitfires, which was the baseball team that they had then. So the newsletter is just such an illustration of what daily life was like. And it's a privilege to be able to peek into that and read these stories and learn their names and just get a sense of what it was to be out at Cane's Head or on Fort Bulkley on Rugged Island, or even out at Barwell running a searchlight. So we are very, very excited to release those and enable everybody in the community to read them.
That's really cool. Yeah. So it's a newsletter. The audience, they're writing for themselves. I am imagining like, okay, guys, we got the new newsletter, and they hand it out all at once, and they all go read it and see what their buddies are saying about them or other things, right? That was the point. Well, then to send home 4 times throughout the year. Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That's exactly it. They got updates from the motor pool or Gun Crew 1 or Searchlight 1.
Oh, okay. Almost communicating between the different areas where they're stationed.
Stuff. They had a puppy out there that they named Atu that was a menace inside the plotting room. And the guys came in one morning and found all their stuff shredded from this puppy. Another fun story is that they called it the South Beach Taxi Service that ran guys on a taxi out to Rocky Point and back and forth. And they would joke about rate increases and having crappy passengers and dumping them off on the side of the road. And then my personal favorite was Glacier Laundry Company. So the guys had a laundry out there, and then everybody, got assigned. You have to go, just like KP duty, you had to go to laundry duty. And they would joke throughout the year when these changes would happen and they would get reassigned that, oh, under new management again, can you believe that? Just such shoddy work managing this place. They're changing ownership one more time. My shirt ironing is going to go up again. So just fun. Like they had a lot of fun with it, and
keeping it loose.
The writing is impeccable.
Nice. And so these will be, at the event, like printed up. You'll be able to get your hands on them and read them. And I mean,
Yeah.
I could see like, anyone reading that, but like local historians, which we have, many of like just really chomping at the bit here. Like here's some new fresh stuff from way back, time capsule.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also spent this summer digitizing those. So
Oh,
they're
sweet.
also be available online for folks to be able to access, which I think is really important, right? We want this history to be accessible and available to as many folks who are interested as we can make it.
Yeah. Yeah. The event is going to be your first crack at it, and the sweatshirts, those can't be digitized. You got to be here to pick up a
Yeah,
limited
that's true.
sweatshirt.
We got to hear. Yeah.
What are we calling this event? Is there the celebrating World War II history and building a Fort McGilvray? Is there like a shorter kind of what are we
Yeah,
going to look
that was
back?
actually crazy. I really, really struggled with coming up with a title of this event. I
It's
think
all good. I know what it's about, but
yeah, what we landed on was a celebration of Seward's World War II history and the legacy of Fort McGilvray.
cool. And so let me ask, because it seems like this can really open up access or change the understanding. But how do you see, this movement with the event coming up on Saturday, September 13th, and the group that you could say the name of again that is joining? Because the fort I've been out to, but it's, access wise, especially if you hike rather than, I'd stayed at Kane's Head at Callisto Cabin, and then we do the hike up the fork. And even that, I mean, I can remember post holing in snow, like hard hike. I imagine people could take a boat in and get there, but it's you got to earn this amazing historical site to get to. How do you see all this movement work you've done, the event, and the group changing people's access to Fort McGilvray and understanding even, or yeah,
No, that's a great question. So the 2 miles up to the fort from North Beach is actually pretty gradual. So if you do go up there and you're able just to kind of keep a steady pace and just keep going, there's plenty of places to rest. And you can even sit down and have your snack inside one of the War Reserve magazines if you want to. The interactive GIS map that I have been working on, that will not only be available on the Canes Head Alaska State Park website, it will be available in the museum and through a QR code out on North Beach.
cool,
So if you're in the museum, but you know that, a hike out there just isn't really attainable, you can still experience Fort McGilvray through that interactive map in the museum or just on the website. If somebody's looking at coming to Seward, but they're not sure they're going to be able to make that hike, they'll be able to access it on the Alaska State Parks website that has Canes Head State Recreation Area there.
cool,
The Friends group side of it, I'm really excited about. So
yeah,
Friends of the Canes Head State Recreation Area, hopefully what this event will do is get a lot of folks excited to come out, join the Friends group, and be able to participate in trail work days, education days, getting more education out there, and potentially hosting tours or doing groups, like group education stuff for kiddos all the way from Tonsina. I know we all love our Tonsina Trail, and it is so stunning. So if we get folks out to help care and keep for Tonsina Trail, for Canes Head Trail, for our marine parks as well, I think the long-term goal there is to be able to support our Alaska State Parks folks in Seward and give them a hand with the upkeep with the trails and preservation of the fort and just education out there in general.
cool, yeah. Because I mean, I feel the times I've been out there, this is really like it's your own. You tour yourself, and it's very authentic as far as just being able to go anywhere. It's a little scary at times if you get in there, but so there could become a more organized, more like structured check-in. We're going to do a tour out here, and that's great to get more people can understand it and have this historical experience right there on grounds.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. I think one of our first events that'll be coming sometime in the spring is actually having a volunteer day to sweep out all the leaf litter and debris from inside Battery 293, which most folks call Fort McGilvray. It is actually Battery 293, and then have a North Beach camp out that night. So even if we just get a couple people up there with some brooms and stuff like that, state parks will help support us, and it won't take long to sweep out Battery 293, and then we can all camp out on North Beach that night.
Cool, really
Yeah.
neat. I think there will be excitement. You could you take part in this event, you get your hands on the sourdough newsletter, and suddenly now you have a connection to this place. It kind of piques your interest, and you have these, as a reader will, like, ooh, I gotta check that out. How do I do that? So really cool. Okay. I mean, I just have one more question and then you can kind of, I feel like you've covered it well. But you know that better than me, so you can kind of take it away after. But I'm just curious about your passion for World War II, like where that came from and how has it gotten to this level. It's really cool to have an expert, certainly, and someone who, yeah, passion, like I said. So,
Yeah, thank you. So I guess it started, I grew up in a household where my parents were much older than my peers. And so I actually was really lucky to grow up with Model A's, Model T's, Aladdin kerosene lamps, Philco radios. I got my first fountain pen when I was 12. I just grew up in a kind of a little different world, and it was really, really special for me. And so as I progressed through, the 1920s history, which is very prevalent in my childhood house, into World War II, one of the things that struck me years ago was the community. You had to have community to make it through the war years. And if Betty didn't show up to Bridge Club, you were going to swing by her house and knock on the door and ask if she needed anything. There were so many civic groups. The fabric of community during that time was so tight knit, and it was beautiful. And from there, I got lucky. I met my husband. He was in the Army. We had a World War II wedding because we wanted as
wow.
many people as we could to experience what community truly means during that time period. And then hopefully today inspire people to continue committing to developing community and making community more close-knit today. And so my passion for World War II really came out of my love of community.
Cool. Well put. Well, and there's the match for Seward right there with our strong community, and ability to help each other out. And Alaska, all these communities where you're up against the elements, you're up against things, you're at the end of the road or you're on your own and you help each other out, be a good neighbor and see who needs wood or food, etc. So that's a great fit for Seward. And that's kind of a neat connection back to almost this being a fitting place for some World War II battalions, trying to use some language you did now about Fort McGilvray. Obviously there's a whole story on why this was chosen. So nice match there as far as like a really strong community, always Seward.
Yeah,
So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was first introduced to Seward actually. I did an entire semester long project on the history of outdoor recreation and economic development in Seward. Completely fell in love with the community during those 4 months of research working on that paper. And then happened to see this wonderful, Alaska State Parks volunteer position.
yeah,
My husband was like, how about you just go and do something that you want to go and do? Why don't you
yeah.
just and so I actually wrote them a cover letter for a volunteer position. And I don't think Ranger Jack Ransom and our park specialist, Mike Burmeister, I don't think they knew what they were getting.
Yeah, they were, yeah. This is a
uh,
pretty good resume. What do you think?
yeah, yeah. And no, but yeah, totally fell in love with the sense of community and the history in Seward. Seward's history is incredibly dynamic and rich.
Sure.
And the community is full of resiliency through these time periods. And I loved it. And
Hmm.
so again, yeah, when I saw the advert for do you like World War II history? I was like,
Yeah,
I already know a little bit about it. So
that
yeah.
was that was directly to you. Yeah, certainly. I mean, you go to the native history that goes way, way back, right? So really starting
Absolutely.
things out here that has been carried on here in this area of Res Bay. So, well,
Yeah.
let's do.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just there are also some Native Alaskans that have ties to World War II in
Right,
Seward. I'm looking forward to bringing their stories into the fold and showcasing them not only in the interactive map, but any other place that we have an opportunity to tie their stories in where they belong.
for sure. I mean, you attending this event, like it's going to be fun to just people coming through the door, is more how you're going to be, oh man, like you're going to be ready to go. That's going to be fun. Just to
Yeah,
just add to the history right there, today or Saturday, September 13th at 2 p.m. It kicks off at the Seward Community Library and Museum. The meeting room, which is right across the museum, we'll be there for several hours, dressed up in our 40s attire, watching films, reading old, new sourdough news, and really will be cool to hear the former superintendent talk about the building of Fort McGilvray. So a nice kind of speech there and production. And then Kendra, who you got a sense of what her presentation will be like, or the energy. So that'll be there Saturday as well. And then over to the Flamingo for the supper club, 3-course meal, turkey leg or prime rib. Fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean, thank you so much. This has been a blast. And it's so much fun that it's on radio, which was,
Totally.
such a thing back
Yeah,
then.
another match. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I thank you, Kendra. This was really fun, and thank you all for listening. And we will see you Saturday, September 13th at 2 p.m. in your 40s attire. Thanks, Seward. And